Hey, welcome back to Kind Heart Homestead. You read that right, we ran into a snag trying to sell our property. In today's video, I'm just going to talk about some of the challenges we've faced so far, just over the past couple weeks, and what potentially the next steps could be. So stick around. Thanks. So the heart of the issue involves this old shed that's located right behind me. And I'll show you some close-ups of it. This side of the shed, I typically just store maybe some old construction materials, renovation supplies in here. But you can tell it's an old log cabin, and I think this may have been the original house of the property. This side of the shed we typically use just for storing gardening and yard tools, any sort of outdoor supplies. You can see here the original log cabin on the left and then the addition on the right. When we bought this property, we were under the impression that the property line went through this shed and that it was technically encroaching on the neighbor's property. Well, the land on both sides of us have been developed since we've moved in, and we've never heard anything more about this encroachment since we bought the property 4 years ago. I'll take you around the outside of this old structure just so you can see what the property line looks like. There's a telephone pole right behind me there. The property line goes along this area, and then there's a little stake there. There's like a 3 to 4 foot span between these two stakes, and it's like a little box carved out. Now the problem with this is that it's not indicated on my title. My title shows the property line goes through this building. I need to run over to Costco to get some last minute provisions for our weekend beach trip. We really just need to get out of town, get into a stress-free environment, try to recoup and rest, and enjoy the beach. We basically took a break for a week. Well, at least I did. Angie's been packing, taking care of Cedar, but I've been struggling with sleep. I've been struggling with it for years, and I'm undergoing some physical therapy, exercises, and routines to try to reduce the pain that I have in my right shoulder blade, my neck, and my back. I'm a very light sleeper, and anything in my environment can disrupt my sleep, whether it's light or sound, temperature, and obviously pain is a big factor. I went and got a sleep study done finally this week, and it turns out I have sleep apnea, so I may need to get some sort of machine. The problem is I'm on a state insurance program, and we're trying to move out of state. And for the sleep machine, it's not just a one-time purchase. They have to do training with me. They have to do fitting. I guess different pieces require fitting and stuff like that. So if I move before this process is done, they might not pay for the machine. So I'm really not sure what to do about that. But anyway, that's been an issue preventing me from making any progress on the move. But we've had this extra time because of the standstill with our property lines. And basically what's happened is I consulted the attorney I used for closing 4 years ago. He's the one who wrote my deed and had it recorded at the county level. My deed basically says, here's the 1986 map, here's my property lines, and here's what my acreage is. And there has been a newer survey done in 2013. It shows that little cutout I was showing you. It makes my property line protrude just around the shed to fully claim the shed with no encroachment. So while that document exists, my deed does not reference it. And the buyers are basically saying, I didn't have a clean title to close on this property to begin with. So it's up to me to rectify the situation, clean up my deed, and sell it to them clean. But the attorney I used 4 years ago, I recently spoke with him, and he says he did it correctly. I own property free of encumbrances. There's no issue selling. So it's basically my attorney versus the buyer's attorney. And there's some sort of rule where I have to give them their down payment back if I delay the process beyond what they would consider reasonable. And similarly, if it's their fault for holding up the process, I don't have to give them their money back. And we're at the point now where like I have no idea who has to make that call, because we each have our own argument and we're both sticking to our guns, so to speak. So I basically just have to wait until the attorneys can come to some agreement. One option that I've been presented with is I could hire a third attorney to break the tie, but that doesn't seem fair, or it also doesn't really make much sense. If we can keep just hiring attorneys to speak in our best interests back and forth, who makes the final say there? Like, we can always continue hiring attorneys. I've reached out to people in online forums. I've spoken to family and friends, and everyone just seems to have a different idea on how this is supposed to work. On one hand, my attorney says I'm free to sell the property as it is, and that's fine. But it seems like any person who wants to buy it is going to encounter this in the search. They're going to find this new survey on file that the neighbors use. The neighbors' surveys show my property line is one shape. My survey shows it's a different shape. And for some reason, I don't know what the reason is, but for some reason, the new survey that was recorded was not recorded for my property on the deed, but it was recorded for the other properties. So that's where I'm at. We basically just have to sit and wait and see how the attorneys can resolve things. We just want to get out of town for the weekend because we know the attorneys don't make any progress on the weekend anyway. I'm here to pick up some bread for Angie and look at maybe some other tools and things that might come in handy as we move off grid. But for now, we're stuck. So leave us a comment down below if you have any ideas on how we can resolve this issue. I really don't want to just cancel the deal. I'm still willing to stay under contract with the buyers, but if we cancel the deal, we could put it on the market again and hope that someone buys it that doesn't care about this issue. Our buyers would like to subdivide it and resell it, and that's their logic for wanting to have all of this stuff fixed before they buy it, because they don't want to run into the process again. But like I said, we're stuck, and we're looking for advice or feedback and any words of wisdom you might have. So see you next time. Thanks.